Well, hello everyone and welcome back down to my allotment. I've just been working at the very top of my allotment. If you remember in the last allotment video I said this area is a bit of a tricky one to look after. I've just been pruning the blackcurrant bush to try and give that a really hard prune, and I've got to say I'm quite pleased with how it is. We'll find out how well it responds later on this year, of course. But something that I've noticed is I have this gooseberry bush just to the side here that has always been very difficult to look after. It's got wrapped around with a load of black plastic a few years ago, which has been very tricky to remove. And then there is a blackberry bush, a thornless blackberry bush that was also planted. I inherited all these plants when I took on this plot. And I'm thinking, I want to see if you guys agree with me, I should dig out that gooseberry bush and get rid of it. I got plenty of other gooseberries all over this allotment and at home. But that's not the thing that I really want to tackle today. I've got a bit more going on just by the greenhouse, so come meet me down there. So this is the area that I was talking about, and this area just by the greenhouse has always been a bit of a problem area for keeping tidy. It originally had raspberries growing in it which have died out, but it's always been a fairly weedy place. So what I decided I was going to do was use this area to grow some seed potatoes. And every variety of seed potato, this particular one is a rocket, was planted that I grew last year. Basically all I did was take a few of the spare leftover seed potatoes when I planted them out in the main beds for growing and eating, and just planted these here. Idea being that I wanted to see if we could save some of our own seed potatoes, and they are now available in garden centres, so it is time to start thinking about buying in these seed potatoes in order to get them ready for the growing season. And actually we're not doing too bad here already. So this particular variety, each container, each one of these concrete blocks has a different variety growing in it. This particular variety was rocket. As you can see, I'm fairly happy with those. They're fairly decent. They will need a good clean. Just check there's no more potatoes in amongst that. A few more. Now we're not going to use this area for growing potatoes this year, of course, but we were just hoping it would work out fairly well and see if we end up, one, reducing the amount of weeds that we have here, and two, saving a few quid. So let's get on and get the rest out and see how we get on. So there we go, we have harvested our seed potatoes, and how did we do is probably the big question. So 4 varieties were planted out there. The Home Guard and the Maris Bard, we didn't get any seed potatoes, but the Acoustic, we got a good amount of large seed potatoes. We're going to be planting plenty of those up, and I'm pretty happy with that. I did think if we weren't going to have enough potatoes, we were going to have to cut potatoes down to try and get more out of them. Pretty happy with those Acoustic, to be honest with you. And the rocket as well, they have done pretty well. So overall, we've got 2 pots worth, which if we were to buy them from a garden centre, our local garden centre, we buy them loose by the pot. They would cost £7 for 2 pots. So we've saved £14, but I did have to spend about £10 on the compost that these were growing in. So we have made a bit of a saving, not much of a saving, not as much as I would like, but ultimately these potatoes are going to learn our local environment, I guess. They're going to pass those genetics on. That's something I'm trying to do. So I'm going to continue growing from these seed potatoes in future years. But we are unfortunately going to have to buy in some seed potatoes as well to plant this year too. So not as much money as I was hoping to save, but I'm happy with it nonetheless. Now what I did, I just planted them out there when I planted all the other seed potatoes and looked after them in exactly the same way, the only difference being they were grown in these concrete planters. So overall I'm quite happy with it. Now I'll be interested to know, let me know down in the comments if you save your own seed potatoes and whether or not, or what seed potatoes are you growing this year? What varieties of potatoes are you growing this year? It'd be great to find out a bit more and see what I can grow myself. Right guys, I'm going to head on home, so I will see you again next time.